Are you a business owner who's fed up with feeling like the world thinks you have to be a boss babe CEO, whatever the hell that is, or hustle 24/7 in order to be taken seriously? If so, welcome to Life in Business, the podcast for women just like you who want to find a slow and steady way to grow your business that's built around genuine work-life balance, not a multi-million-pound empire. I'm your podcast host, Libby Langley, business coach and mentor, solopreneur, sole trader, cat mama, and die-hard advocate of doing less to achieve more. In Life in Business, I'm going to share with you how to make small but effective tweaks, how to be confident in your business decisions, how to say no to things you think you should be doing, and how to make a healthy and guilt-free profit doing exactly what you love the most without working 14 hours a day. Get ready to make your dreams come true. Here's this week's episode. Hello, welcome to another episode of Life in Business. I'm Libby Langley, I'm your host for today, and today I want to talk to you about Goblin mode. Not an expression I'd heard of before the other day, but Goblin mode has been made the Oxford Dictionary Word of the Year for 2022. So I thought it was timely to talk about it, as I've just heard about it today. And what better day to make a podcast recording about it than the day you learn about something? So there's a little extra lesson for you right at the beginning there. Strike while the iron is hot before you forget about the idea, because I know that I always do. And I'm sure you do too. So make it easy for yourself first. When you have the idea, when you have the enthusiasm, when you're on the wave, do the thing. Okay. So Goblin mode, not something that I've ever used, but now something I'm going to fully embrace. So the official definition of Goblin mode, if you haven't heard of it, is unapologetically self-indulgent and lazy, slovenly or greedy behaviour. Could sound like a negative, that, because nobody wants to be slovenly or greedy, but actually I think this is a hugely positive thing that we can all learn from. So Goblin mode is basically self-care. Okay. It's good to be unapologetically self-indulgent. It's good to be unapologetically lazy, because we all need that sometimes. So today, really, I'm going to talk to you about self-care in business. The point is that you can't embrace 24/7 hustle all the time. You just physically cannot do it, and it won't get you ahead. You can't sustain that pace forever. Okay. I mean, that's otherwise known as beast mode, right? And beast mode is, and we've got a special guest today. This is my cat Susie, who's just wandered in to join in. So say hello to everyone, Susie. And beast mode is something that, to me, brings to mind very masculine energy, very much kind of train, from a personal trainer perspective, and to push and to push. And it doesn't sound like a feminine expression to me, and it doesn't have any elements of self-care in it at all. I don't think. So Goblin mode is basically the opposite of beast mode. And the reason that you can't sustain beast mode or embracing 24/7 hustle 24/7 is that you will burn out completely. You'll get to the point where you just physically cannot do any more. And that's not a healthy place to be in business at all. I mean, we all get tired, and burnout is a very, very real thing. But there are ways of managing the things that you want to do and the things that you need to do so that they are easier, so that they are more gentle, and so that you can get there in the time that you want to get there. It's not about push, and it's not about beast mode engaged all the time. A downside of that is that you may well overpromise and then end up underdelivering. Because if you are pushing all the time, then you will commit to a lot of things at once. Too many clients that you can't cope with, or too many events that you need to go to without factoring in some downtime afterwards. And what will happen there is that because you're pushing too much, because you physically are not capable of being in all these places at once that you've agreed to be in, or delivering all these things, because burnout will happen, because you'll just be too exhausted to do it, you'll end up having unhappy clients. You'll end up pissing people off because you're not delivering what you promised them to deliver. And this is the kind of beast mode 24/7 hustle. This is where it can get you. Some people very much thrive on that high energy and can sustain it for longer periods of time. But I know I can't. I know that recording these podcasts, I mean, sure, I'm just sitting here with my cat, who you've just met, and recording this, but it still takes a level of energy for me in order to be on like this and talking to you. And I couldn't do this all day, every day. I just couldn't. I simply would not have the mental energy to be able to do that, which means that they would get worse and worse and worse, and I'd rush them, and they wouldn't give you the value that you want or give you the support that you need. And that's okay. That's okay to do that. It's okay to say, no, do you know what? I can't do this. So it's about knowing what you're not what you're capable of, because you're obviously capable of incredible things, but what your energy level is capable of sustaining for the longer period of time. And also what you have the capacity, mental and physical, in order to be able to deliver to the standard that you want to deliver it. And this is not about perfectionism. We'll talk about that in a future episode. But this is about just promising what people will get and what you can actually do. Really important to be aware of that. And, whatever level it is, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. There's ways that you can run a business from your bed the whole time if that's what you need to do in order to cope with whatever life throws at you. And that's great. Another reason that you can't embrace 24/7 hustle or beast mode all the time is quite simply, you'll miss out on a lot of the good things in life. There's so much else in life other than working. And yes, you need to work hard. I'll just rephrase that, because working hard is not caught myself. Did you see I caught myself there? Working hard is not the way that we want to do things. Working smart, but putting in a lot of effort, it's a different thing, because working hard isn't necessarily going to get you anywhere. Working hard is the 24/7 hustle, right? But working smart and working consistently and being determined. That's what I mean there, is if, you need to do that in order to get ahead. And in order to not miss out on all the good things in life, which you don't want to, then there have to be times when you're not working, right? When you're not focusing on moving ahead. And to embrace Goblin mode and still run a business, this is about finding the happy medium there. So if you went full Goblin mode, then you'd never get anything done. And if you, which isn't like if you fully embraced beast mode, you'd burn out too quickly. So how do you embrace Goblin mode and still run a business? Well, setting boundaries and managing expectation is one of the key things there. So if you have, just talked about overpromising and underdelivering. If you set out the expectation of when it will take you, how long it will take you to complete a certain project, or how many calls you're able to do in a week, what your capacity is, then everybody knows what to expect. I've had clients say to me, can we do it on a Friday? And I've said, no, I don't do client calls on a Friday. And then there's generally a joke because they say, check you out embracing your own boundaries. But it's absolutely true. I don't do client calls on a Friday because I need Fridays for my own headspace, not quite a Goblin mode, because I generally do work, but it's the softer, gentler work and getting things out of my head and into action. And that's okay. As long as you say that to people, that these are the days I do things and these are the days I don't, then their expectations are managed. So you will be able to deliver exactly as you promised and not go through the overpromise and underdeliver cycle. Another thing you can do is to not be all things for all people. If you're all things to all people, then you will again be overpromising and underdelivering. And also you don't want to be all things to all people. You want to be the absolutely perfect thing for the handful of people that you want to work with, or the dozen, or the 2 dozen. That's what you want to be. And if you are trying to be everything to everybody, it's going to be so diluted and so stressful. It's diluted for your clients or potential clients to know what on earth it is you actually do, and so stressful for you because you don't know what you're doing to who and to when and why. So don't try and be all things to all people, because that is not Goblin. It's not Goblin behaviour. And also, to embrace your inner Goblin, make sure that you've got really clear goals and say no to everything else. If you listen to a previous episode of the Life in Business podcast, I talk about why you need a vision and goals in your business. So go back and have a look for that one. And the clearer you are in your goals, and the more you say no to anything else, it automatically creates such a sense of space for you. Because if your focus is, such as my focus is on working with clients one-to-one, that's what I do. And if I got approached to do a group training session for a corporate company, for example, I would say no. Because A, I don't work with corporates. I work with solo business owners, solopreneurs, midlife females who work and run their own businesses. And I don't work with corporates, and I don't want to work with corporates. So I would say no to that work. No matter how tempting the money is, or how you think saying no to things will mean that you never get asked to do things ever again. That's just not true. By having really clear goals and being really clear on your goals, it means that you are getting towards your goal in the fastest, most efficient and easiest way possible. You say no to everything else, like a horse with blinkers on. It's much, much easier. Actually, if you want to find some ways to make your business easier, I've got a download available on my website. If you go to libbylangley.com/resources, then you can download a cheat sheet on 37 simple to implement ways to make your business easier this week. So that's at libbylangley.com/resources. You'll be able to find that. So that's well worth having a look at for something that you can, 37 easy to implement ways you can make your business easier this week. And that is something that we all need from time to time. So what does self-care in business actually look like? There isn't really an answer to that, because it is such a personal thing, right? What self-care looks like to me is probably not what self-care looks like to you. So it's whatever you need. And I think it's another rabbit hole you can go down, right? By scrolling through Instagram and finding self-care people, and they're telling you to meditate, or they're telling you to take off your socks and feel your toes in the grass, or they're telling you to book a holiday, then you don't necessarily need all those things. You might just need to have a little nap in the afternoon, or you might need to say no to more things in your business, or you might need to change your business model. It might be actually that if you're feeling stressed and overwhelmed and you're pushing and pushing and pushing and feel like you're not getting anywhere, that you're pushing at the wrong door. You're pushing at the wrong thing. And you'll know from previous episodes of this podcast that I have had numerous iterations in my business and pivoted quite a few times. And the reason that I've seen success and then, it's not been as successful, had these kind of peaks and troughs, is when I've been at the stage of pushing at something that isn't right for me, that isn't aligned to me. And that's where the disconnect happens. And so for me, self-care in business is very much about knowing I'm on the right path. And once you know you're on the right path and your goals are clear and everything you do is working towards that path, then it is so much easier. And the self-care in business is just kind of there the whole time, which is just such a wonderful state to be at. So some small self-care things that you could implement today that would make a difference might be things as simple as having a walk at lunchtime or actually having a lunch break. I mean, we're terrible in the corporate world for it being like a badge of honor to eat your lunch at your desk and work through your lunch and all of this. And, you don't need any of that kind of bullshit politics when you work for yourself. You don't need it when you're in a job, but you don't need it when you work for yourself. If you want to take half an hour lunch break or a 2-hour lunch break and sit in the bath and eat some sandwiches, fine. It's your business and you can be as unconventional as you want. And remember that Goblin mode is about being unapologetically self-indulgent in your behavior. And that's just so wonderful. You're doing the thing because it's what you need. It's what you need to do. And there is no apology for that. And it's self-indulgent because it's about you, because you're that's what self-care is. That's the thing that you need right there and then. So that's the thing that you're going to do. And it might be a walk at lunchtime. It might be having a lunch break, a proper lunch break, and not checking your emails for an hour. It might be watching Homes Under the Hammer every afternoon so you get a little break. That's all self-care, right? And it's all perfectly okay. And also stepping away from your desk or your laptop when you've done what you set out to do for the day. So if you have 5 things you wanted to complete that day and you have completed those 5 things by 3 o'clock, that's okay. You've done what you set out to do. Yes, you can do more things. And if you're motivated, then perhaps you can, if you want to. But if that puts you in danger of engaging beast mode, I'm on fire, I can do more. That's something you need to think carefully about, okay? So if you do that, if you do that push once a week, fine. But if you find yourself doing that every day, then that's time to reflect on it and see how you are actually managing your time and actually managing your day and managing your behavior. So it's okay. It's great, in fact, to step away when you've done what you set out to do. And this isn't about just doing the things that you need to do at all, because those 5 things you've got on your list might be bloody massive, great big things. They might be hard, challenging, enormous things. And or they might be small things. It really doesn't matter. This is about you getting things done, setting your boundaries, delivering on what you've promised to your clients, and not being all things to all people. And if you want to walk away from your desk before 5 o'clock, then good for you, I say. Absolutely good for you. And there is no shame and there is no judgment for that whatsoever. There might be some bigger things that you can do to implement self-care in your business. And one of those, a big scary thing, might be cancelling some clients. I know that's a big scary thing. But there are big scary things in business that we have to deal with. Now, I have parted ways with a few clients over the years because they've either been an utter nightmare and made my life miserable, or I've just kind of had enough of that relationship. And it sounds kind of flaky, but if you're doing done for you work, which I don't do anymore, I do one-to-one coaching, that's it. But if you do done for you work, which I have done in the past, sometimes after a while it gets boring. And so if you are not enthused by the work that you're doing, then I'd worked with the same client for a number of years, so this is not about you've worked with a client for a week and you're bored of it. I don't mean that. I mean, longer term relationships. It's okay if they've run their course. That is absolutely okay. Or you decide to pivot your business, which is what I did. And so they no longer fit into your fold. That's fine. But it's a big thing in business. But this is still part of the self-care ethos, is that deciding which clients are right for you and who you want to work with, and and kindly and gently parting ways with the people who don't fit into that. It might be that you want to actually have a holiday. When you work from home on your own, having time off can sometimes be difficult if your time off just involves being at home. If you go to a place of work, then having time at home is great, it's a novelty. But if you're bumbling about the house on your own all day anyway, with nothing but your cat shouting at you, then maybe you do need to book some time away. So it could be that you decide to go and work from somewhere else for a while. Or it could be that you actually book a holiday somewhere and have a proper break. And you know what? When I first started out in business back in 2011, the holidays I had for the first few years, I worked all holiday. I would always be on my emails. I would always be, like I said, I did done for you work there as well. So I would always be prepping stuff for clients. And it was really, really difficult. And it took me quite a few years in business to actually say, I'm going on holiday, and put measures into place so that the work that needed to be done was all scheduled and prepped ahead of time. And you know what? It was always absolutely fine. The client said, have a nice holiday. Oh, yeah, okay. That was easy. So, having a holiday might be something that you need to help you to give yourself a big old dose of self-care. And also getting support. So getting a coach to kind of act as a business partner with you, to take some of the pressure off you so you're not trying to do everything alone. It doesn't mean that you're going to be engaging full goblin mode and letting them do all the work, because that's not how it works in a coaching relationship. But to know that there's someone there who will provide you with accountability, that is a level of self-care, because it allows you to stay on track and someone is going to help you stay on track. And that does mean it's easier for you to say no to the other things, to the shiny things, to the things that you shouldn't be doing. So that's something that you could do. Or actually, do you need to just engage full goblin mode every Sunday? And that's what you do. And you stay in your pajamas and you get a takeaway and you watch telly and you might have a nap in the afternoon. But if you need that day to fully goblin recharge, that's what you need to do. And there's just no right or wrong here. There's just absolutely no shame whatsoever. It's whatever you need to be as fresh and as vibrant and your mind as sparky as you need it to be in order to make your business the wonderful thing that you want it to be. So just to recap on what I've talked about today, I've talked about the goblin mode being the Oxford Dictionary word of the year for 2022. And how embracing 24/7 hustle is not going to get you ahead, and why it's not, because it's unsustainable. You'll overpromise and underdeliver. You'll have unhappy clients and you'll miss out on all the good things in life. So then I talked about how you can embrace goblin mode and still run a business. So ways of setting boundaries and managing expectations, how to not be all things to all people, and how having really clear goals and saying no to anything else is actually going to get you further ahead more quickly. And then what does self-care in business actually look like? Well, it's as personal as you are, an individual as you are. Okay. So there are some small things you can do, like taking a proper lunch break and walking away when you've finished your tasks for the day, or big things like cancelling clients or getting proper support in your business. So there's lots of things that you can do. And don't forget to head to libbylangley.com/resources to get your copy of 37 simple to implement ways to make your business easier this week. And I promise you, they are simple to implement things. But if you do some of them, that will make a difference. If you do all 37, you are going to be 90% goblin mode and still super efficient, which is pretty good. I would love to hear from you about anything that you've learned from today, or anything that struck a chord with you, anything you're now going to do differently. So please do make your comments on social media and tag me. I'm at Libby Langley on Instagram. I'd love to know what you think. And if you've enjoyed today's podcast and you've found it useful, why not screenshot what's going on your phone and share it on social media? And again, tag me at Libby Langley. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow this podcast. And if you leave a review, a good review, I don't want no negative Nellies in my world of ease, thank you, then you can leave a review wherever you listen to your podcast. And the reason that reviews are important is that it helps the podcast be found by other people. So the more we can spread the word about an easier way to do business, the better the world is gonna be. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm off to put my slippers on. Who am I kidding? I'm already wearing them. And engage full Goblin mode for the rest of the day. So it's been wonderful to spend this time with you, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Life in Business. Please make sure you subscribe or follow so you don't miss any future episodes. If you enjoyed today's show, please leave a review, as it helps others to find the podcast and spread the word that there is an easier way to do business. If you want to chat with me about today's episode or suggest a topic for the future, I'd love to hear from you. You can find me on Instagram @Libby Langley. See you next week.